Hello, economics class. It is a Monday, but I'm actually going to do this for like the whole week because I felt like it'd be easier to kind of put it all. There's not a whole lot in this chapter that you guys don't know already. Most of it is a review from stuff we've talked about in the past, honestly. Or if not, it's stuff that you probably heard at least in U.S. government from different things we went over in the news. So a lot of it's on free market economy and stuff like that. Stuff that you guys know about. So, alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started on page 244. And basically, sorry, I got to get comfy here in my spot. I'll try to move the light maybe a little bit closer so you can see me. Okay, that's as good as it's going to get. My lamp was about to fall off. Alright, so reasons for trade deficits. So obviously deficit usually doesn't mean, like if they tell you have a vitamin C deficiency, that's the same thing as like a deficit, and that means you don't have enough of it. So let's look at what causes maybe the trade balance, or it's not balanced. It's probably a better word for deficiency than just not having enough. Let's look at the reasons that some of these trade things are not even. So domestic inability to produce goods. Obviously, some goods are not always produced here in America. And some of them are just they're better quality other places. Like coffee, some coffee is produced in America, but if you've had Colombian coffee, then you know, or international coffee, it's good. It's much better, I think. Maybe just a personal preference. Some cars are that way. Some people prefer foreign cars, such as like, I'm trying to think of off the top of my head, like Lamborghinis are foreign cars, but some people prefer Lamborghinis over their Ford. So cheaper foreign materials is the reason why. So that's one of the reasons that we buy from China. Another reason was lower foreign wages. So like in other countries like China, they're not paid as much as minimum wages here in America. So their products are, the material's cheaper, the work's cheaper. So overall, the product's cheaper. We buy it for cheaper. Which also goes into the next point, the lower, fewer capital costs. All those play into that total bill. And foreign subsidies. A subsidy is a government's payment to a producer to help with manufacturing costs. So trade policy and protectionism versus free trade. Protectionism is we want to keep everything American made, and free trade is like, well, we also need to trade with, it's best to trade with other economies as well. They support trade quotas and I keep saying perfectionist, but it's protectionist. Support trade quotas, which limit the quantities of certain goods that foreign nations may purchase. So the apostle of free trade is David Ricardo, and I'm going to try to send you guys something on him. A little bit more interactive than just reading that little box there. And obviously a tariff is a tax on imported goods. We've been over that a million times. You guys know at the beginning of this year we had a tariff in, well, China. We had a tariff on China. We had a tariff on Iran. So those were some things that the Trump campaign decided to put a tariff on. Every presidential campaign, several presidential campaigns at least, have come in and decided, okay, this is the way that tariffs are going to go. For a long period in history, tariffs didn't go well. I think they're going a little bit better now than what they did in history's past. The North American Trade Agreement, there was one not too long ago. I think we talked about it in U.S. government when Trump went to a meeting with them. Basically, it's between us and Canada and Mexico. We have a trade agreement together. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for us not to trade with Canada or Mexico because we're obviously landlocked with them. So that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, especially since Canada has products that we don't have. Mexico has products that we don't have. And that is better in those places. So sometimes we have products that they don't have that they need as well. Frederick Bass, I'm going to try to say this guy's name without like completely butchering it, but I might not be able to. I think it might be Bassier, but I'm not sure. He's French. He's a French economist, and he argued against the idea of just wanting to keep everything French made there. I am going to send you guys a link. So basically, that is something that's been a big deal in this upcoming election, is that with all this going on with us in China, with the virus, people are saying we don't need to buy from China anymore. That's been a big debate now, is like, what will the trade, because we had a trade agreement with China, so like, what will that look like now that a lot of countries, it kind of reminds me of like World War One, when they, at the end of it, in the Allies won, they wanted Germany to kind of pay back for the stuff that they caused, and they started. A lot of countries have lost a lot of money over this virus, even though it wasn't an act of war or terrorism, they don't think. It still caused a lot of countries to lose a lot of money, so I'm pretty sure a lot of countries are wanting to do a lot of harm. I know that there's some families actually that are trying to sue China, like actual individual American families that are trying to sue China. I don't know how that'll work, but they're in the process of it. I saw that on the news the other day. And if you look at the very top on here on 249, you'll see Calvin and Hobbes. I love Calvin and Hobbes, actually, and you guys know I talk about Mr. Palmer all the time. He loves Calvin and Hobbes, so I think it's so cute. But you can see up here, I'm going to kind of read through it with you, and then one of your assignments this week will be to analyze what you think the two sides that they're trying to show here, because there's always two sides of the issue. You guys know this. That's why I made you always do one Republican speech for U.S. government and one Democratic. I made you guys switch all the time, because there's always two sides of the issue, and they both are equally, should be presented equally and should be presented fairly. So what two sides of this do you think there are? So $15 a glass. That's right. Want some? How do you justify charging $15? Supply and demand, which you guys know about. Where's the demand? I don't see any demand. There's lots of demand. Yeah, sure. As the sole stockholder in this enterprise, I demand monstrous profit on my investment. And any president and CEO of the company, I demand an exuberant annual salary. And as my own employee, I demand a high hourly wage and all sorts of company benefits. And then there's overhead and actual production cost. But it looks like you just threw a lemon in some sludge water. Well, I have to cut expenses somewhere. I want to stay competitive. What if I get sick from that? Caveat emptor. It's the motto we stand behind. I'd have to charge more if we followed health and environmental regulations. You're out of your mind. I'm going home to drink something else. Sure, put me out of a job. It's you anti-business types who ruin the economy. And then he finally goes home. I need to be subsidized, he tells his mother. So you guys can kind of look through that and tell me what you think that means. Just so you know, trade surplus is a positive balance of trade that experienced when a nation exports more than its imports, and trade deficiency is obviously when there's a negative balance. So more so than anything, it's unbalanced, and that's what to worry about. Obviously, we want things to be as balanced as possible, but it can't always be. Right now, obviously, there's probably a trade deficiency. So that is your 8-minute economic lesson for the week, but a lot of it was reviewing stuff that you guys kind of knew already, so I'm hoping you guys just can read through it and kind of review what's going on. And we're so close to finishing the end of this book. I miss you guys. I wish we were in class together, and I think about you guys often. I think about your businesses that you created often, how creative you guys are, and how I wish we were creating together, because I love seeing that from you guys. And I miss you guys. I do. So I'll see you guys soon. And till then, I'll see you guys on Zoom on Wednesday at 10:30.